Hey, everybody, we're here for the first episode of the show that has yet to be named in a while. Some movie content, some pop culture stuff here. I'm here with Cap's special guest, definitely not part of the show. And today we have Die Hard.
Franchise.
Die Hard, the franchise. So we're going to talk about it a bit. We'll go through the movies, and then at the end, we'll give you a ranking.
Oh, we're going to do the ranking at the end?
I'll do it at the end. You want
Let's
to
do it
now?
at the end. Let's get it out of the way.
Out of the way?
Yeah.
All right, I'll go first because this is real easy for me. You got.
Okay.
I'm gonna go from 5 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
So Die Hard 5,
Mm-hmm.
abomination of film. Die Hard 2, I don't like it. Die Hard 4, Live Free or Die Hard. I very much like this movie. I think it's really fun. It doesn't have the same as the other ones, but it's pretty fun. Die Hard with a Vengeance is my number 2. I really like this movie. The addition of Samuel L. Jackson took it to another level for me. And then Die Hard 1. You're talking top 3, guaranteed top 10 on anybody's best action movie list. That's my list.
All right. That's your list? Okay, here's my list. Starting from the bottom. The 5th one.
Yeah.
Easily forgettable. I mean, yeah. The number 4 is the 3rd one. Die Hard with a Vengeance. And number 3 is the 4th one. Live Free, Die Hard. Number 2 is the 2nd one. And number 1 is the original. So those are our rankings. First off, I'm just curious as to why you are not, you don't like the 2nd one. I'm just wondering what makes it so unlikable for you.
Because in it's hard to explain. I think it's just not a well-made movie.
Too bad now, you're going to have to.
It's just not a well-made movie. I think we should go through the movies and I'll get more into detail with that. But I think in comparison to the other ones, it's not the same. So let's start at the beginning. Die Hard 1. Go ahead. You're the guy.
You know what's so funny? Because when these films came out, like I didn't hold the first one in such high regard until later on. It's such a well-crafted movie. And this is like me watching it recently, like a couple months ago. It's so well done, and it's not just because of the story; it's the characters. Alan Rickman's such a friggin' badass of a bad guy.
Hans Gruber revolutionized the way we would see villains going forward, because he kind of took the idea of a Bond villain and made it way more like menacing and scary, but also like Shakespearean kind of. Like he's very like eloquent, like the way that he's his plan is. It's not overly like crazy or anything, and it's I think
but clever too.
Yeah, it's really clever. Like he's not just there to make a really over elaborate plan that doesn't work. Like he knew what he was gonna do. The reason his plan doesn't work is because of John McClane, not because he's like his plan is so stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because John McClane was never part of that plan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now he has a machine gun.
But like the supporting cast too, like everybody else in that film just had a part to play, and they played it perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a well-crafted movie. I thought it was like well told, and
forgive me for not knowing his name, but the guy from Family Matters, he's really good.
He had such
Carl Winslow.
Weird name. But it was such a weird name. I don't remember his name.
Okay, well, anyway. Who are you talking about?
No,
the cop?
Guy. Yes.
Okay. You know who has a weird name? His limousine driver's name is Argyle. So I remember
Yeah,
that.
that's easy to remember.
Yeah, those are like some facts. I think for one thing I want to say, I agree with what you said in the beginning about Die Hard. To me, I never had that. I latched on to more when it came to action movies. Lethal Weapon was my thing.
Hmm.
Like maybe my parents or something, but I just loved Lethal Weapon. I watched Lethal Weapon so much as a kid. Like no kid should have seen a rated R movie that many times as I did. And um I just loved it. But then once I was maybe like early teens, like 13, 14, and I caught the second or the third Die Hard because TBS used to play them all in a row. And I was like, oh, this movie's awesome. And I went back and I watched all the other ones. And then, like, a year or two later, the fourth one came out. And yeah, it was a pretty good time. I became a big Die Hard fan.
I think the other thing is that Bruce Willis is not your typical over the top good guy, I guess. He has his
He's the
flaws,
opposite.
and he's easily relatable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's just a normal guy that ended up doing like a really heroic
Yeah, he's
thing.
too old for this.
So like anybody could like what I think what they're trying to present to the viewer is that anybody could do this.
He's an
Anybody can be that kind
everyman.
of hero. Yeah, yeah.
And I get that. I think this is an instant classic. This is a movie that a lot of people haven't seen, and then they get recommended to watch it. They don't want to watch it. Then they do, and they're like, wow, it's so good. As far as action
Yeah.
movies go, like I said, there's a very rare chance that this is not going to be in somebody's top 10 best action movies. Like for me, it's top three.
Hmm.
So I let's move on to the second movie. I'll
I think
tell
you've
you.
already expressed your opinions, but go ahead.
I'll tell you why I don't like it if you tell me why you like it. So I'm going to tell you why I don't like it.
Deal.
I think it's well known fact that this movie wasn't made to be a Die Hard movie. This was branded as for something else, and they were like, it's not going to sell, so they just attached the Die Hard name to it and made it as a Die Hard movie. Um, it was planned as like a Die Hard knockoff, and it follows the beats of the first Die Hard too much. He's not the same character where he's more of like a cartoonish version of himself. Like now he's turned into like a pun. Everything for him is like getting that phrase, or what's it called, the catchphrase, or like dropping like those Arnold lines. That's what it became, and it's not as tight written. The story's kind of stupid, and it just follows too beat for beat the last one. Like it's just too on point. But this is something I don't know. Does it take place directly after the first one, or is this a couple years later? I don't remember that.
3 years later.
Is it okay? Uh, but yeah, it doesn't. It's not a bad movie. Like if you were like, is it one of the worst action movies? No, but I don't personally like it. I think it stands out as being bad, especially in comparison to the first, third, and fourth one. Which I do think the fourth one has flaws, but the writing on this one is kind of sloppy. They knew they were going to attach Die Hard to it. They're like, put John McClane in, action, bang, bang, bang. Okay, that's a movie. Now tell me.
Um, Kind of agree with you with those catchphrases. Um, but I think this is one of the last movies that they were able to bring a lot of the original characters back, um, and then add on some new ones that played their role very well. Um, I think it was a cool movie. I thought like the fact that you have terrorists taking over an airport, um, the twists with the army guys where they just spoiler alert, by the way. When the army guys just like sided with the villain, it was I thought it
Yeah,
was all right. I really enjoyed the movie. I really enjoyed the movie. You know what I
I
mean?
think
At the end of the day, I was entertained and I enjoyed it.
I think it's a serviceable, entertaining enough action movie that people who really like action movies will find some joy in. But if you watch the first one
Yeah.
and you're a perfect person like me that overanalyzes movies, then the second one is not going to work well for you, especially when you get to the third one. So we're going to move to the third one. And for me, I think the chemistry between Samuel L. Jackson and Bruce Willis is so good. And they're both good actors. They both give good performances. This one, the plot is a little bit too ridiculous. I'll admit that. But Jeremy Irons does such a good job recapturing the Hans Gruber ish villain. And when the second movie didn't really have that guy. And I think that's kind of what Die Hard's about, having like a really stupid villain. Like, I know not all of them are, but that first one established it. Like, not stupid. You know what I mean? Like, a big uh, personality. And I think that overall it's good. And the mystery element of it, when he was trying to go to all the things to figure out what's going to happen next, I love that. And how he didn't know who to trust because everyone was on the payroll. That's what I liked about it. And entertainment wise, I find it way more entertaining than the second one. Like the second one is so condensed in the airport, where the first movie, you already did that condensed feeling movie. You needed to like massage it out a bit.
I thought parts of the third one were boring. Um,
That's fair.
I thought the chemistry between Samuel L. Jackson and Bruce Willis is very good. So there's my positive. I thought the Jeremy Irons character, when he turns his back on, I guess, his second in command, was pointless. I didn't think that was necessary. I thought the woman bad guy,
Yeah,
if that
yeah,
makes
yeah,
sense,
yeah. I know what you're talking about.
I don't see what her purpose was.
I have to kind of agree with that.
Um,
That one
yeah,
was a weird one.
yep. I thought it was a pretty decent storyline. You know, uh, uh, yeah, I just thought parts of it were kind of boring.
I actually want to go
I didn't
watch that.
really wasn't too crazy about the school thing. You know what I mean?
But it worked, right? It completely threw
It
them
did come,
off.
yeah.
They were so worried about what was going to happen that it threw them completely off what they were supposed to be doing. And I mean,
I just didn't
I get it.
understand the whole sort of stealing money to blow it up kind of deal, and then not blowing it up, and then I don't know. It's
It's
just
convoluted. I
yeah,
agree,
yeah,
but I like the big egotistical personality as the
yeah.
villain.
Yeah, I mean, one of the highlights, I guess, the one more highlight in that film was the truck driver.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know,
All right.
that came out of nowhere, where he just told them who the 43rd president of the United States was. I believe 43rd. No,
I think it
43rd.
was. I know it was a president.
Was it
Anyways,
43rd?
who
I,
cares?
I
This is George Bush.
no,
It wasn't.
it wasn't the
No.
43rd. It was the 22nd. I can't remember. Okay.
I think it was 23rd. Anyways, moving on. Fourth movie. So here it gets a little bit weird. Um, I think the second one, maybe as a whole, like completely, is better than this one. But this movie to me is so much more fun and entertaining. And it's very similar to the third one in its style. I don't like the villains really, and I don't like the plot, but I like the chemistry of the characters. I like the characters. I like all the actors they had in it. Most of the acting was pretty solid. The comedy levels are, it focuses a lot more on comedy than any of the other ones. And I kind of like that. But I mean, it's a little bit messy. But I think if you're like action movies, you don't need that much of a deep thing. And as far as entertainment and action goes, this has way more than the second one, which is why I put it ahead of the second one.
Okay.
We have this
First
at
and
the same spot.
yeah, first and foremost, I really enjoyed this movie. Um, on the flip side, I didn't realize that John McClane was such a was more powerful than Superman all of a
And that he
sudden.
literally knows how to do everything. Like, you
Like
gotta
all of
fly
a
a
sudden,
plane, gotta fly a helicopter, gotta drive a train.
yeah.
Like, what? I agree, but it's fun as hell.
The whole driving a cop car into a helicopter, and um, all of a sudden he can survive a missile from a jet.
Hey,
Uh,
come on. He could do it. It's John McClane.
Very, very entertaining. Really cool storyline. A lot of the characters were really cool. Um, I thought it had that sort of formula, Die Hard formula, where it had a pretty cool villain and then a really good supporting cast. I like the fact that he got his daughter involved. I thought that was a pretty cool twist at the end. Um, what's the computer guy's name? Justin Long.
Yeah. Kevin
He,
Smith's in the movie.
yeah,
His daughter is played by
came out of
Mary
nowhere.
Elizabeth Winstead. Like, the cast is massive. Like, they went all out on this budget wise. This movie has, and that's where it throws me off for the next movie.
Yeah, I
You
can't
want
really
to,
talk about the next movie because of the fact that I don't even remember a lot of it.
yeah. So what?
Before we move on to
Yeah,
that, I just feel like an idiot because I can't believe I just said 43rd president, which is like George Bush.
yeah. That's what I
And
said.
yeah, it's like I feel like an idiot.
I even
Um,
got that right. I was like George Bush.
yeah, 21st president,
Who was it? Andrew Garfield.
Chester A. Arthur.
Oh yeah, no one even knows who that guy is.
No, but
Yeah, yeah.
that's the president that they used to figure out which school it was.
So
I can't even talk about the fifth film. I know it involved. I think the daughter made a guest appearance, and the whole point of it was to get him and his son.
So this is. I just want to just let me go. Okay, let me go. I don't remember anything about this movie. This movie's an absolute piece of garbage that deserves to be burned in a dumpster fire. He all of a sudden now, 5 movies in, find out that he has a son. All right, okay.
What?
And
No,
did we find out? Do we know about his son in other movies? I don't remember
yeah,
that.
son was in the first one.
What do you mean? No one's in the first one except his wife.
What are you talking about? They went to the the kid's home. Remember when they
Oh
were?
yeah, you're right. Okay, anyways, forget about this. This movie's so bad I didn't even remember that fact. I barely remember anything that happened in this movie except that Jai Courtney is a really bad actor, at least in this movie.
I
It's
would have to agree with you
so
on that.
it's so over the top and it's so ridiculous. It took all the fun, stupid stuff from the fourth movie and just put it to a new level of stupid.
Yeah,
And the camera work is so bad. It looks like trash. They tried to just make Jai Courtney a knockoff of Bruce Willis.
I just
Bruce
I
Willis
just
just
think
comes
it
off
was
like a
just like a
dick.
payday.
Yeah, Bruce Willis completely comes off like a dick in this movie. Like he doesn't feel like John McClane. He just feels like an ass. And I don't it just doesn't work on any level. Like this is a movie that even for action movie lover standards, which is usually a lot lower than most movie watchers, that's not a good movie.
I think it had a lot to do with the writing, and wasn't that good.
Yeah.
It was poorly written, poorly executed. You're absolutely right about Jai Courtney. I think you're absolutely right about Bruce Willis's character in this movie. He does come off as dickish, um, but no redeeming qualities in this movie at all. I don't see it.
To me,
Easily forgettable.
if you ever ask me to watch Die Hard, I'll never get to this. I won't watch this movie. I saw this movie only one time. I just want to point that out, and I will never watch it again. I do not own it. I'm a movie collector. Like I have a lot of bad movies, and this is one movie from a set I won't get.
Hmm.
I'll name another one. I'll name you 2 other ones that I won't finish. The Underworld. I'm not buying the last Underworld movie, and I'm not buying the last Resident Evil movie. To me, those movies don't exist. They're so bad that the series for me ends after the one before that. And there's a new Die Hard coming out, supposedly. I don't know if it's a show or a movie, called McClane. It's supposed to be a prequel, I think.
Storyline has not been
Yeah,
released.
and I don't know if I
It's
have any
called
interest.
McClane, like you said. Yeah, I think for the longest time they were trying to bring back the wife, but she doesn't want to come back. She refuses. So
If you're gonna listen to me,
yeah,
as bad as this sounds, if you're making this movie take place after the fifth one, you need to get somehow the wife, if she's even alive. I don't even remember if she dies in the movies or
no,
something.
she's alive.
You need the daughter back, and you need Jai Courtney back as the son. Because if you're not gonna keep the continuity, then you're on top of already shitting on the franchise with the last movie. You're doing it again by ignoring the continuity, and I don't like that.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Campos. I mean, there have been movies that were released recently that have ignored some of the sequels, and like they would just like rewrite the storyline pretty
Name
much.
me,
Was it? Sorry,
name me two.
I just want to Halloween being one of them. I just want to point out once. I ask you a question. Would you be upset if um, they sort of erase the fifth one from existence and just kind of rewrite a little of the storyline? Like,
No, but I
you
think you
would
should
care?
hat tip to the son and make it Jai Courtney still, even if you erase the fifth movie. This is my thing, and this is where I was going with this. I thought you were going to name another movie, but
Terminator.
I'll give you three: Terminator, Predator, and Halloween. Okay, Predator was not good, but the other two I liked. Predator still, even though it had none of the people, it they tell you about the events of the first movie in the jungle. So it has a connection to that movie, okay? Halloween, what did they do? Yes, they discontinued everything from the other ones, but they brought back the characters that mattered and the story of it. They continued it. They didn't just neglect everything, right? That's what I mean. Look at Terminator. Yeah, you forgot the third movies and so on, but you completely brought back everyone that needed to come back. You remembered the story. That she talks about what happened. You see John Connor die, and it's like spoilers, and it doesn't forget about those movies. Yes, it forgets about the ones that sucked, but it has enough continuity to make it work. They weren't just like, here's another movie, but the fifth one didn't count. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah, I wouldn't be upset if they rewrote part of the storyline and you just like erase the fifth one from
Yeah,
existence
I'm
and
okay.
just try it over again. I mean,
You could even put a
um,
joke in it. Like you could have a thing where he's like, "Remember the time you went to Russia?" And he could be like, "No, I don't."
no, that would have been pretty
Or "I
cool.
never went to Russia" or something. You know what I mean? Like I think
Now,
that would be funny.
uh,
Uh,
on a side note, I don't think that Halloween should have erased the second one.
I
I thought that was
agree.
pretty cool.
I agree. And as much as people don't like the sister brother thing, that added such a weight to the movie that it's crazy to me. In my opinion, I would have kept the first one, the second one, and H2O. And I would have made her daughter a son so it works in the timeline with H2O. You could have brought Josh Hartnett back as the son. And then all of a sudden now you have the three best Halloween movies basically connecting to the new one, and it works for me. But I'm okay. Like I'm not mad, but I wish that they did that. In my
well,
mind, I pretend the second one is still in it.
well, they can always rewrite it
I don't,
again.
I personally just pretend. And John Carpenter is saying that the new one's going to be amazing.
Yeah, side note, I think it's coming out next year.
Yeah, they pushed it back, but it's done. Um,
Crazy.
Last thing I want to ask you before we finish this. So we saw all the things about Lethal Weapon coming out 5, and I really hope it happens. Are you more excited for Lethal Weapon 5 or Die Hard or McClane?
Both. Why settle for one?
Yeah, but which one would you, if you could only have one, if the other one disappears forever without you knowing anything about either one? I'm gonna make it 3. I'll make it 3.
See, here's the thing. Like, oh man,
Beverly Hills Cop 4, because that's coming too.
When was the last Beverly Hills Cop?
The early 90s, 93, I think.
So there's been a bigger gap with Beverly Hills Cop than
Lethal
the
Weapon
other
was
two.
like 98, I think.
Yeah.
And the Beverly Hills Cop was like 93.
Yeah. Maybe Beverly Hills Cop because it's been so long. Shit, man. Why do I need to settle for one? I love all of them.
I'm just asking you a
Screw it.
hypothetical question.
Screw it. I would
would
feel a
say-
little bad for the Lethal Weapon guys because they're up there in age, man.
I think you can get away more with only one old guy, which is Bruce Willis, or one old guy that's Eddie Murphy, rather than a whole cast of old guys. Now you've made the movie harder to do, I think, but I agree.
But
I
good
think
on Bruce Willis because he does not look like he's aged a lot. You know what I mean?
neither does Eddie Murphy. For me, okay, excitement level, considering the franchise as a whole, the actors, and what I want, Lethal Weapon, Beverly Hills Cop, McClane. I don't want another Die Hard. I'm going to be honest. I really want another Lethal Weapon, and it's been so long. I'm curious to see if Beverly Hills Cop will be funny.
I think Beverly Hills Cop is gonna. It'll determine how Coming to America 2 goes.
The
I
other
think
way,
if
you
that
mean?
goes well,
Yeah,
I think if Coming to America
goes
2
well.
goes well, sorry,
Yeah.
it'll
Reflect
give
on.
everybody.
Yeah.
It'll give everybody an idea of how the next Beverly Hills
Well,
Cop movie is gonna go.
I promise you, if Coming to America goes well and Beverly Hills Cop goes well, you're gonna get another 48 Hours movie as well.
Maybe another Trading Places.
Who knows? Dan Aykroyd hasn't done anything in so long.
Yeah.
Maybe they go on a con. Maybe now they're cons. It's been like 30 years of them being cons.
Who's behind the Coming to America? Is it Prime?
Yeah, I believe so.
Is it?
And
I thought
believe
Netflix was supposed to be behind it, but
they might be. I know he has a deal for one movie on Amazon, and then all his other movies are on Netflix.
I do know that Beverly Hills Cop is with Netflix.
Yeah, and his comedy special is also with Netflix.
Yeah. Well, this got away from Die Hard.
Yeah, anyways, Die Hard. Do you like it? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching. That's Cap, special guest appearance, and peace out.